from Isuwatu Block 6, and the topic is all about table tennis. So table tennis is also called ping pong. It's a ball game similar in principle to lawn tennis and played on a flat table divided into two equal courts by a net fixed across its wide at the middle. So the object is to hit the ball so that it goes over the net and bounces on the opponent's half of the table in such a way the opponent cannot reach it or return it correctly. So table tennis is a ball game which is played on a flat table. So you should hit the ball to gain score. Table tennis is propelled back and forth across the net by small rackets. So you are using rackets, bats, or paddles. The game is popular all over the world. In most countries, it is very highly organized as a competitive sport, especially in Europe and Asia, like in China and Japan. And the history of the game table tennis. The game was invented in England in the early days of the 20th century and was originally called ping pong, a trade name. The name table tennis was adopted in 1921 to 22 when the old ping pong association formed in 1902 was revived. So the original association had broken up about 1905, though apparently the game continued to be played in England and also in London, and by the 1920s was being played in many countries led by representatives of Germany, Hungary, and England. So the Fédération Internationale de Tennis de Table was founded in 1926, and the founding members being in England, Sweden, Hungary, India, and Denmark, Germany, Czechoslovakia, and Austria and Wales. By the mid-1990s, more than 165 national associations were members. So the first World Championships were held in London in 1926. That is the first game that they ever had. And in addition, the sport originated in Victorian England, where it was played among the upper class as an after-dinner parlor game. It has been suggested that makeshift versions of the game were developed by British military officers in India around the 1860s or 1870s who brought it back with them. And Ivor Montagu was founding father of the table tennis. Chelsea Ivor Montagu. Then some of the names it was known by are ping pong or gosima. That is another code for the table tennis. So the first World Championship that table tennis was played were held in London in 1926, and from then until 1933. The game was dominated by players from Central Europe. The European people are very good in playing table tennis. That's why they dominated the game. And the men's team event being won 9 times by Hungary. Table tennis equipment is relatively simple and inexpensive. All you need is a table, which is rectangular 9 feet by 5 feet, 2.7 meters by 1.5 meters. Its upper surface, a level plane, 30 inches or 76 centimeters above the floor. The net is 6 feet or 1.8 meters long, and its upper edge along the whole length is 6 inches or 15.25 centimeters above the playing surface. The ball, which is spherical and hollow, was once made of white celluloid. Since 1969, a plastic similar to celluloid has been used. The ball, which may be colored white, yellow, or orange, and it weighs about 0.09 ounce or 2.7 grams and has a diameter of about 1.6 inches or 4 centimeters. The blade of a racket or bat is usually made of wood. And is flat and rigid. and may be covered with a thin layer of ordinary stippled or pimpled rubber, which may be laid over a thin layer of sponge rubber and may have the pimples reversed. Whatever combination is used, each of the two sides of a paddle must be different in color. The racket may be any size, weight, or shape. The basic rules of playing table tennis. The aim of the game is simple. Hit the ball over the net into your opponent's side. A point is won by you if your opponent is unable to return the ball to your side of the table. Either they miss the ball or they hit the ball but I misses your side of the table, or the ball hits the net. Or if they hit the ball before it bounces on their side of the table. In scoring, the winner of a game is the first to 11 points. There must be a gap of at least 2 points between opponents at the end of the game. So if the score is 10-10, the game goes into extra play until one of the player has gained a lead of 2 points. The point goes to the player who successfully ends a rally regardless of who has served. A match can consist of the number of games you like. Just make sure you agree this in advance. Rules in serving singles. A player takes 2 serve before the ball switches to the opponent to serve, except during periods of extra play where it changes each time. The first person to serve at the start of the game can be determined in many different ways. We'll leave that up to you to decide. Service can be diagonal or in a straight line in singles. In serving doubles, service must be diagonal from the right half court to the opponent's right half court. Service changeover in doubles is as follows. At the start of a game, the serving team will decide which player will serve first. The first player to serve is A1, and A1 serves to B1, serves 2 services. Then B1 then serves to A2, also 2 services. Then A2 serves to B2, 2 services. B2 serves to A1, 2 services. Repeat and repeat again. At the end of the game, the serving team will decide which player will serve. At the end of game 1 and the start of game 2, Team B will take the first serve. B1 must serve to A1. A1 then serves to B2 and so on. Rotation rules for doubles. In doubles, you should alternate hitting the ball with your partner. So, for example, A1 serves the ball to B1, who returns the ball. A2 then hits the ball and B2 returns this. A1 hits and B2 returns. A2 hits and B1 returns, and so on. Service rules you must obey. The ball must first bounce on your side and then in your opponent's. Your opponent must allow the ball to hit their side of the table before trying to return this. The ball must pass cleanly over the net if it clips the net and goes over. It is a let and the serve is retaken. If it hits the net and doesn't go over, the point goes to the other player or team. There are no second services.